Hi, everybody. It's Alie, your resident Potter nerd.
Oh my god.
Hi, Alie. You see what I did there?
Yes.
So we're doing an outro episode today. A nice little wrap up of book 1 of Why Can't We Be Wizards? So this is so listeners can get a feel for us as players, instead of just us as characters. So just to go over a little bit what happened this season, and also to answer some questions that our listeners have given us. So first off, why don't we just go around, just like we did in episode 1, and introduce ourselves, who we are playing, and also I'd like to know your favorite Harry Potter book, and what Hogwarts house you are in.
Alright, I'll start. So, I'm Mitchell, I play Caleb, and my favorite book has got to be The Goblet of Fire, which we've practically done already by this point. What was that contest called?
Triwizard Tournament?
You mean the first year house hunt?
Yeah, the first year house hunt. All right.
The first year
I could
house
never
hunt.
say it.
FYHH, yes, of
The
course.
FYHH. Just
The
call it the
FYHH. Yeah. So I really like how this season brought in a lot of the Goblet of Fire vibes. Shout out to Kevin. And I, spoilers, am secretly a Gryffindor, I would say. Gryffindor best house. You might have noticed that I leap on things in the game, and I'm trying to suppress that instinct.
Really?
And I also want to be friends with those Gryffindor boys because they know what's cool.
They certainly think they do.
Yeah, I've always wanted you guys to start calling them like the Griffin Bros or something like that.
The Griffin Bros.
Griffin
Okay.
Bros.
What about the Gryffindorks?
We can insert that.
I love that.
Gryffindorks.
I can go next. So I'm Lauren and I play Allison. I am also a Gryffindor, and I think I'd be Gryffindor by choice. I think if the Sorting Hat was to pick, I'd probably be in Ravenclaw with everyone else, but I would pick to be in Gryffindor. And my favorite book, I don't have one favorite book. I really like all of them, but book 5, just because Harry's so angsty and like teenage boy, and I get why, but doesn't mean I like it.
It's a lot. It is.
Yeah, it's so impactful to the story, though.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I enjoyed when he's being angsty and moody. Like, I'm glad I didn't have to relive high school, but that was rough.
Yeah, I think someone recently shared a supercut of all the Harry moments from that movie where he was just being like
The worst.
he just didn't care about anything and was just like, yeah, it was interesting. It was entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, I get that he has a supervillain living in his head and it's not helping, but still, I didn't enjoy reading it. So
It is still a Harry Potter book.
yeah, but at the bottom.
All right, I'll be honest. I kind of think that it all falls downhill after book 4.
Oh
Well,
no.
Book 4 is the best book.
Book
and then
4 is the
everything
best book.
afterwards.
Controversial.
Well, it's because book 1 through 4 are also mystery novels, and then book
Yeah.
5, 6, and 7 are like not.
No.
And because that they don't have that like big wrap up thing where everything gets tied together in a really interesting way and is clever. It makes sense. Like it's because she was trying to wrap up the story, but yes, they're not as good as the first 4.
I think by that point she knew she had some movie deals, and they started to get a lot more like the movies, which was cool in a way. I love the big fight at the Ministry, and I'm not saying that the books are bad. They're still pretty good.
I mean, a dragon
For
breaking out of
literature.
Gringotts, definitely made for the movie.
Oh, I think she literally wrote
Oh,
that
yeah.
with like, yeah, we're doing this one in a movie, huh, guys?
Yeah.
And even worse than that, I think she did it with they're going to do 2 of these, and this is the beginning of the next one, big adventure scene for the beginning of the part 2. Yeah, I feel the same way. But
Are you guys? This is turning into a different podcast.
yeah, I agree.
I'll go next.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Hello. I'm Charlotte. I play Skylar. And my favorite book is book 3 because I think Hermione's super impressive. And I like meeting the Marauders. And if I were in a house, I would actually be going to Beaubaton because I'm so French. And I don't belong in Hogwarts. I belong Apple baton.
in the world.
I can go next. I am Mike, and I play Leo, who is basically just me when I was 11 years old, if you couldn't tell. And I didn't want to admit this for years and years, but I am a Hufflepuff, and I'm now a proud Hufflepuff. I have accepted my fate. And my favorite book is the third one also, just because I'm a sucker for a time travel story. And I very much enjoy how the twist of that one was just like, oh yeah, it was time travel. And then they just never do time travel again, because it could go off the rails. So it's just like, okay, that was the time travel one, and then we're done with that now. But I enjoyed that a lot.
Until the cursed child.
Nope.
Yeah, well,
oh my God.
that doesn't count. Yeah.
We could talk for hours. Let's not.
Oh God.
Yeah.
No. There are so many other podcasts that do this,
Putting
guys.
this aside.
And they do it so well.
They do.
Yeah.
And we do it like garbage.
We do.
We have other skills.
Shout out to
Talents
literally every
lie
other Harry Potter
elsewhere.
podcast.
Right? There's some good ones out there.
There are a lot of very good ones.
Kevin, your turn.
Oh, is it my turn?
You're
It
the
is
only
your
turn.
one left.
I'm not. That's not true. Allie's supposed to go.
Oh, you can
do
answer the
still have to go.
questions.
Yeah.
I just figured we were saving the best and most interesting for last. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh wow.
That's why Allie's going last.
Ooh, okay. Well, no, yeah. So I'm Kevin, and I play Professor Pritchard and Professor Preston and Emmanuel and Mina
Oh, no.
Galway. And I could go
Hunter.
on. Hunter McGurkenstuffins, a fan favorite. Yep.
Do you wanna bust out that Professor Preston voice for us right now?
I absolutely not.
Okay.
I would have to. That's actually like to go under the covers for a second. That one's the one where I'm like, oh, I have to do Professor Preston in the scene. Give me 30 seconds so I can summon that creature.
It was worth a try.
Yeah. So let's see. What were the questions? So my favorite Harry Potter book is The Goblet of Fire, for obvious aforementioned reasons. Of it is the one with the best mystery that ties everything together in an extremely satisfying way, while also driving the plot forward and doing other interesting things at the same time. It's the best one. It just is. And my Hogwarts house is, in case anyone was wondering, Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw!
Yeah.
Ravenclaw.
The best for last.
Yes, of course.
I'm Alie, and I play Freya. My favorite Harry Potter book is The Prisoner of Azkaban, much like you guys were saying earlier, for time travel and meeting the Marauders, the whole introduction of the Marauders map, which is so cool. And I am also a Ravenclaw, but much like Freya, I'm actually more of a Slitherclaw.
That's not a thing.
In that I was.
That's not a thing.
Hey,
it is
you
totally.
let her express
it is
herself.
Totally a thing. Excuse me.
Slitherclaw.
It is a thing. Okay.
Slitherclaw.
Slitherclaw.
I was given the choice. I took the test. I was given the choice between Slytherin and Ravenclaw, and I'm a
wanna
scientist, so I
choose.
took that test several times, and every time it was either Ravenclaw or Slytherin. More often Ravenclaw.
Which means that the Sorting Hat just needs you to choose, but you do have to choose one.
Yeah, I chose Ravenclaw.
Okay.
Yeah. So moving on a little. So we have some questions from our listeners taken from Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And I just want to give a huge thank you to everyone that submitted questions. I actually had everyone answer a couple of them already, but I really appreciate everyone submitting questions and trying to interact with us. So first off, this was a question from somebody on Facebook, and I was thinking about talking about this in general. So we're using this role-playing system from Tablestory called Witchcraft and Wizardry. And the question given to us was how we rate it and how we think it compares to other role-playing systems.
This is
So I think
juicy.
actually Kevin would probably be the best one to answer this.
So this is interesting, and the reason I say it's interesting is because, little known fact, this is not the first Harry Potter tabletop role-playing game I have actually actively had a campaign before. I played a game run by Mitchell And we basically used a modified version of the fate system in that one. So for those of you who don't know, we play witchcraft and wizardry, which is a modified powered by the apocalypse. Basically, the way it works is it's a 2d6 system. There's a bunch of different traits that characters have that are either plus or minus, anywhere from +2 to -2. And when they do things and I make them roll, those attributes are on display. And that's basically it. It's a really simple system. I think that, like the common RPG systems like a D&D, where they're very rules heavy and there's a lot of, or Dungeon World or any of those where there's like a ton of rules. Pathfinder's another one. They don't lend well towards storytelling in a very specific setting, because either that setting has to be very well defined in the context of those rules, or you kind of have to fudge things a little bit. So we do both. But yeah, I liked this system a lot because it sort of allowed us to have a lot of freedom with the story that we're trying to tell. And I think, at the end of the day, what I wanted to do with this show was to tell a cool Harry Potter story where my friends got to go to Hogwarts. And I think that's really what this system does really well. If we want to talk limitations of the system, things I don't like, I don't know if there's anything I explicitly don't love. I think this game actually has like a surprisingly decent number of like mechanics. So like, for example, one of the things that I think we've sort of been messing around with and has been like a little bit of a problem for us is, how do you do stuff like, you're all, traveling through Hogwarts in the middle of the night. Let's roll 5 quick and quiets. Well, inevitably someone's going to fail, right? So we have to kind of
it's going to be Leo.
we have homebrewed a little bit and made some changes in terms of rolls. But
I think it's also kind of interesting that this system is built so that you can play with your friends that are all in different houses. Like, we've set it up so that we're all in the same house for, storytelling purposes. But technically, you can have, Ravenclaws, Slytherins, Hufflepuffs, Gryffindors all playing the same game.
Yeah, and I think that part of that's part of the reason I thought it would be interesting to use a different house trait other than a Ravenclaw one. Leo's is a Hufflepuff trait. Just for some more variety in the game.
Yeah, so that kind of actually leads very nicely into my next question. So we have these character traits, right? Some good, some or negative, some positive. What character trait do you think was the hardest to portray in your character?
Secretive. It was definitely secretive for me. It was very hard to keep that secret. And I knew I wanted to unlock that right away because I had to tell everybody. Otherwise, I was in trouble.
I think for me, I really wanted Allison to be shy and not quite outspoken, kind of like how I was at an 11-year-old, because I'm also playing a character very similar to me at 11. And now as an adult, I'm pretty sassy and wouldn't necessarily like put up with the stuff that Allison kind of like puts up with. And so I think it was a little bit hard to like turn off that sort of like adult perspective and try to like be an 11-year-old child and kind of see through their eyes again and stuff that they would react to, and like they wouldn't talk back to a professor even though like I would as an adult. I'm
pretty mouthy for a Ravenclaw.
I know.
Yeah. You are. Allison less so. I feel like I have to like kind of rein in some of that sassiness, but
I definitely know the trait that it was hardest for me to portray, at least compared to my original plan for this character. One of the traits that I picked, which you can hear in the first episode, is smart for Leo. And I do think that he is under a lot of aloofness. He's a smart guy, but it was just so much more fun to lean into that aloof kind of like sort of dumb behavior, just because it's fun to roleplay that, and it leads to some comic relief. And so I kind of forgot to be smart. And so, yeah, that was kind of not what I meant to do a little bit, but I think it ended up in a good place.
Although I think that Leo has solved more of the door riddles than Allison has, so...
Maybe when he's not paying attention to whatever the adventure is, he's just thinking about those riddles.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like Caleb just solves them all.
I used to give a lot of riddles to high schoolers because I was a math teacher, and it was a great way to spend time. Riddles are great. They help us expand our minds and think in new parallel dimensions.
Lateral thinking.
Indeed.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, it may not be apparent to listeners, but like, Kevin doesn't tell us those in advance.
Yeah, no, he does not.
No, of course not. I don't tell you guys anything. Like,
No.
Yeah, to peek behind the curtain a little bit, Kevin reads out a door riddle, and then we sit on our call when we're recording in silence for 20 seconds thinking about it, and he cuts that out.
Sometimes.
Although Allison's not being dumb, Lauren just doesn't get the riddles.
Yeah, I mean, that's true of me too, with like the one exception of the bubbles.
I think for me, the character trait that I chose for Freya that I thought was like really difficult to portray was traditional. Like the whole idea that she comes from a very traditional family and so therefore is traditional. Like I thought that was a strange one to try and portray. I don't know, Freya in general I've thought of very just like aloof but also shy, but has kind of like as like this book has kind of progressed, she's kind of like stepped out of her comfort zone a lot more than I was expecting.
See, that's interesting to me because I think that like in my head, Freya is the girl that 2 years from now is going to be wearing Nirvana t-shirts. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yep.
Teenage
She's just,
maybe-
she's just not there
Maybe
yet.
that's where it will go. Maybe that's where that will go, but
This is me now.
Yeah.
So I have another question about dice. So we use mostly D6s, but someone was wondering if we have any Harry Potter themed dice. I don't think any of us do, but oh my god, do I want a set.
Yeah, that's
So
a
badly.
mistake.
Hard disagree.
Why do you do that?
Hard disagree. They're not Harry Potter themed, but I have a set of D&D dice that are like that blue and gold color that look very similar to like the Harry Potter font and theme.
Charlotte, there's one in the dice box.
I just really want like a D20 with like the Deathly Hollow symbol.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, go get
You
it.
have one?
It's really cool. It's got like 9 3/4 and stuff on it.
Oh my
So
god.
it's like all
my
these.
gosh.
It's a 6-sided dice, and it.
Okay, I was mistaken when I said that. No one had them then.
Of course, we have at least.
Charlotte walked off to get something, so I'm wondering if she's going to come back with a dice.
I hope she does, because it's inside our. So we have this big metal fake book of the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yep.
Oh, Charlotte's
gosh.
holding it up to the camera. It's filled with dice.
Oh, that's so cool.
I gotta say, I love that old timey,
gosh.
Oh my God.
like pre-movies Harry Potter art aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, so my birthday was a couple of weeks ago, and Charlotte sent me a card, and that card it had like the art from Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire on the front, and literally like on the back she wrote me a note, and she was just like, "Have I been saving this for 20 years just to give it away to somebody?" Yes. Like, it's fantastic.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I love
Oh,
that
man.
old timey art.
Yeah.
It's the best one.
Oh, Allison was super excited to receive mail from Caleb.
Oh my
That
gosh,
was-
yes.
yeah.
We got your stuff too.
Oh, that's fantastic. I hope you all appreciate it.
I did. One of my roommates almost threw it out
Oh no.
because they were like, "Oh, Allison, there's nobody here named Allison," and almost just
Oh,
tossed it.
well, now it's apparent that your roommates do not listen to our podcast.
God.
No, none of my roommates
Oh,
listen to
no.
this podcast.
Oh, that.
But it
Rough.
was rescued. So
Good, I'm glad.
I'm also very glad ours got to us because I have in the past told my mailman, like, hey, can you stop delivering things that are not addressed to our actual name because we keep getting stuff from the previous tenant. So they did deliver the ones addressed to Leo and Freya, so that was good.
Well, that's good.
nice.
Yeah, I like that we're all sending each other mail as our characters. I think that's really nice.
I know we were inspired by the Christmas episode and we did that thing in real life.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Speaking of, I'm totally going to have one of your gifts right now.
Oh yeah, we got Charlotte a bunch of chocolate.
She's not on the headset right now. She has not shared any of those.
What'd you just say?
Nothing.
You
Don't worry about
Okay, so getting back to the questions. So I have some questions that are more specific to like this book, and some things that have happened throughout this the last couple episodes. So somebody asked, and this is directly geared towards Caleb and Leo, how many failed food-like experiments do you think there were? And what do you think they did with them?
I think there's just a closet somewhere full of food.
Oh no. Caleb definitely knew Finite Incantatem and would have canceled a bunch of those spells. It might have been dangerous, and I'm sure there were mishaps along the way. But there's a lot of mishaps that happened off camera in my imagination.
Yes, I think that Leo probably had lots and lots of attempts when Caleb wasn't around that he was too embarrassed to share, and so he shoved those in a closet for sure.
Were any of them on fire?
Probably, yeah.
Well done, chicken wings.
Yeah, easily the food feat was some people's like favorite part of some of the episodes. I know my sister laughed so hard at the heist episode specifically when you guys were presenting your project on food feat.
Oh yeah, having that callback was fantastic.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, and that I mean. That chocolate bar is still out there.
Oh yeah,
I'm counting on it, Kevin.
In the winter, like
Oh yeah, I'm counting on that making an appearance.
That chocolate bar must be very skilled.
Yeah, series. I'm not joking. That's gonna be like series arc. It's gonna show up in like book 6, like Dobby, and just like save you for some insane reason.
Kevin, we need to have just a really dramatic episode just from his perspective.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Maybe we get attacked by Dementors and he just like
we need to get on a guest that plays the inner monologue of the chocolate bar.
Yes.
And it has a very deep voice.
You have to be someone very sweet.
I think we have a friend for
Right.
this.
Oh man, could my mom do it?
I don't know. Can she?
Absolutely.
Why
Is it
not?
French chocolate bar?
All right. So again, kind of like leading into that. So like right after we had the project science fair thing, we also had a snowball fight, and that ended up getting, left out because the episode was on the long side. But were there any other deleted scenes that you guys know of that didn't make it that you were sad to see?
I have a very hard time. So we play it and then we listen to it, and it's different, but I can't ever tell how. So
that means Kevin's doing a good job making it natural when he cuts out scenes.
I know of like 2 scenes that got cut, and one of them was the snowball fight, and the other one was like we interacted with the Gryffindors on the train ride home.
Wait,
for the holidays.
The snowball fight got cut?
Yeah.
The snowball fight's not in the episode.
Oh man, we should make an extended version of that episode with the snowball fight.
We could. We could totally do bonus episodes eventually with extended
just
cuts
release all
if
the
we really
deleted
wanted
scenes.
Yeah, but that scene on the train, we were just like not in the mood to pick a fight with the Gryffindors. So.
We're never in a mood to pick a fight with the Gryffindors.
Freya
except for
yeah,
Freya.
but we just like left
Except for
them. They were hexing each other, and we just like closed the door, and we're like, nope, not dealing with that.
Weren't they hexing Slytherin specifically? And then Freya was just like, yeah, this is fine. I'm just gonna watch. I hope the Slytherins get you.
Yeah, Allison was like, no, I'm just gonna take a nap.
I'm still very invested in these Gryffindors getting their comeuppance. I hope that happens narratively soon, rather than taking until.
Well, I don't know about comeuppance. I'd like to see them have like a change of heart.
I would like that too.
Can they get walloped first and then have a change of
Yeah.
heart?
Yes,
they
please.
do need a light walloping.
Maybe not Violet. She's kind of sweet, but
I don't think she is.
Yeah. I do actually really love the whole bro-y Gryffindor thing is wonderful.
Yeah,
like
that was
the
actually
direction
my
you're going
next
with that.
point.
I like how Charlotte needed to go get more chocolate for this episode.
I didn't want to eat all the Oreos, so I got 3 bars, just so I have choices.
Just 3 bars. That's it.
For choices.
Just a
I'm not
small
gonna eat all.
3
Only
bars
3.
of chocolate.
Just for this
Yeah.
episode.
All the times that Skylar is eating chocolate, Charlotte is actually eating chocolate.
Yes.
Do you have any
method
idea how much Charlotte eating food I have to edit out of this podcast? Do you have any idea the toll that has on me?
Yeah.
Well, for contrast, Allison really likes Snickers bars and I do not. I don't know that I've ever eaten a Snickers bar.
Interesting.
Wait,
I
not
don't
even
like
like
them.
to try it?
No, I got
How do you know
peanuts
you
in
don't
it.
like it? If it,
They're good.
'Cause there's peanuts in it.
They're okay.
If you don't like peanuts, you probably won't like it.
You guys are nuts.
People like them because
Yeah.
Snickers don't melt very well. So they're a hearty candy, but
Interesting.
oh yeah, they're really good frozen. Actually, put them in the freezer.
They are. Although you will destroy your teeth if you're not careful.
I like York peppermint patties. Put those
Oh, I
in the
like
freezer.
those.
Love those.
Mm-hmm.
But
I like all chocolate.
All right, welcome to our chocolate podcast. This podcast is talking about chocolate all day.
Where Charlotte we talk about chocolate.
I can talk
and
about
Charlotte
it for
eats chocolate.
days.
I like mint chocolate.
I consider myself a chocolate connoisseur from all the chocolate I've eaten.
Yeah, so I specifically really liked that the Gryffindor boys were like jockish because I feel like that fits very much into the Gryffindor mold, while also displaying kind of like a negative quality of Gryffindors. Especially because if you look at the books, like Gryffindors are just made out to be like the best house, like because the main characters are in it.
Because they are.
Gryffindors are the heroes. Slytherins are the bad ones. Ravenclaws are the smart ones.
Nerds.
And then Hufflepuffs are like the dumb ones. And it's like, all right, well,
That is why I didn't
Cool.
want to accept my Hufflepuffness for a while. That impression, anyway.
Internalized like house phobia.
Yeah. But it's interesting because, like, if you think about any story that you would read and you think about the perspective of the characters that are not, like, the protagonists and how they must feel about the like, a hero protagonist in a story has got to come off as super annoying and overbearing to everyone around them. And, like, we are living that in this game.
well,
you
see,
know?
now that's where, like, I think it's interesting because I did not tell any of you guys, oh, hey, we're doing a Ravenclaw podcast when I was like, hey, let's do a Hogwarts podcast. Like, I was very specifically, I waited until you guys were getting sorted for you to find out, like, oh, yeah, now I'm going to start you all into Ravenclaw because partially because of narrative reasons, like, right, like, I didn't want everybody to be in different houses and have to deal with, you know, like, there are scenes where we're in the common room and it makes more sense for y'all to be together and stuff. And, like, go to the same classes and, you know. But I'm curious because I wonder, what did you guys all think? Like, what house did you guys think you were going to get sorted into?
Oh, Slytherin.
Really? Like, did you think everyone was getting sorted into Slytherin or just you?
No, I thought it was just going to be Freya and Slytherin and everyone was going to get different. I
I also
don't think
thought-
going into that episode, I thought everyone was going to be in the same house. But then as soon as I was the last person and everyone was already in Ravenclaw, I'm like, well,
Yeah, I also thought that it was just going to be Freya who was sorted into Slytherin. And because
Oh,
Slytherins are
gosh.
evil, we had to save Freya. It'd be like the heist episode, but for Freya.
oh,
Although I
no.
really want to do a Slytherin podcast that's all dark and brooding.
That just sounds like book 5.
Yeah.
Oh, no, let's keep it Goblet of Fire.
I don't think Allison really had a preference. I think they probably wouldn't have liked Slytherin, but Allison would have gone into any house.
Okay, so now I have some questions about Skylar. So Skylar is non-binary, and someone is wondering if we've thought through gender-neutral bathrooms in Hogwarts. If there are gender-neutral
No
bathrooms,
one goes to the bathroom in D&D.
They
right?
teleported out.
That's what I was saying.
Well,
But
don't
then
you
also,
know? You just go wherever you want and vanish the evidence.
Shut up.
No.
But I'd like to say that if we did, Hogwarts would be like witch, wizard, elf, whatever, as long as you wash your hands kind of bathroom situation.
yeah, I mean, if you don't wash your hands, that's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really like how inclusive we have our Hogwarts, because I know Kevin always says that this is our experience, like, kind of put together.
Yeah, so, like, for me, from my perspective, like there is basically nothing more important in this show than for us to like actually describe an inclusive Hogwarts that's not, you know, regressive and crappy.
So I really like not only that Skylar is non-binary, but that we can have these kind of conversations as a group about things that we may not have really thought about.
Definitely. And behind the scenes, we have been discussing it and learning a lot from it as well. And so it's a great, like, playing D&D is a great way to explore things, and this is one of them. So I think it's been a great learning curve for me and for everyone I've been playing with, I think.
Yeah. All right. So just to go along with that, someone also asked about their sleeping situation. So where Skylar is staying in the dorms in Ravenclaw Tower.
Yes. We did not talk about it in this book, but if you keep listening, that will be addressed in book 2.
I think that's definitely something that could be fluid over time. You don't keep the same roommates in college, right? Sometimes you fall out and you have new ones, or sometimes you keep the same one for a couple years. So I think Skylar could probably be in the same boat.
I think actually it's sort of interesting because we talked earlier about that snowball fight scene. We introduced almost a half a dozen other first-year Ravenclaws in that scene.
Oh, yeah.
And they were cut.
Oh, God.
So,
they don't exist anymore.
Oh, right. I had that moment with
I still have those characters, right? Like, I still think those characters can, should, and probably will be relevant, but...
Wait, is this whole thing just an advertisement for the snowball fight?
Oh,
I feel like we're going to have to post the snowball fight now.
I know, right?
I've never edited it.
Release the snowball cut.
Unedited.
Please don't. I cut it for a reason.
Sorry, Kevin.
It's uninteresting audio. Yeah. No, I just imagine someone listening like, yeah, no, this is boring. Yep.
Yep.
I understand why
Yep, that's a snowball fight.
But that's Allison's signature spell is bewitch snowballs, and it's the one time in the book that Allison got to use them.
Didn't you use it during the heist, though?
Okay, yes,
I think you used it during the heist.
Yeah, I pounded it against the wall, and then I got buried.
You just need to have someone else who learns how to conjure snowballs, and then you'd be the dream team.
I thought we'd just be outside a lot more often in the snow.
Listen, we just reached level 2. Our spells are way more powerful.
I agree. It's like the one thing that levels up in this game is spells.
It's
Can't
true.
level up anything else.
Right. So the big twist of this book, at least in my mind, was the moment when Caleb took the potion he got from Hogwarts and he didn't change into a werewolf. At least for me, that really not blew my mind a little bit, but it did. I've always thought about the idea of the wizarding world, 20 years ago. So it makes sense that throughout history they would be constantly improving on things like potions, but that never clicked for me at all until we talked about it in the podcast. So I just thought that whole premise was really interesting.
It reminded me that we're in the future and things have progressed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I thought that it showed also the societal norms about how the Wizarding Society now views werewolves, and the fact that there was research done onto this presumably very small percent of the wizarding population is werewolves, and so there was research done into this potion to make their lives better and make them able to fit in society better, and have those tools. So that's really nice.
I think Granger probably led that research.
Well, I mean, when you have Hermione Granger as the Minister of Magic,
yeah, she's gonna make that happen.
She's probably gonna invest in education and science and technology, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was imagining in my head anyway. Although it's interesting you say that was so surprising to you. I feel out of all of the twists and sort of things I did to you guys, that one was the one I telegraphed by far the most.
Yeah. I mean, after the fact, I totally picked up on that because I remember thinking when Freya first found out that Caleb was a werewolf, like, wait, but how is he going to bed every night? How is he able to stay in his dorm? And I just never, I thought like, oh, we'll address it eventually. And that never like stuck with me until I found out.
So someone should just ask Leo, like, so where has Caleb been going every night? It's like, oh yeah, I guess he hasn't really been around at night, huh?
So yeah, were there other twists in this book that you guys weren't expecting?
I think Allison's iPod was actually a big twist for me. The fact that it was so pivotal in us solving that last puzzle, or one of the puzzles in the FYHH, and the fact that music became really the powerful driving force that saved Freya. Just because it's like a piece of Muggle tech that Allison was just kind of messing with all year, and it became really cool, and now it works.
I was not expecting
really cool.
that man who was camping out in the woods to be your dad.
No, right?
Oh,
I mean,
I definitely saw that coming.
I thought that it was possible, but I didn't want it to be true.
I should have had
I
you
didn't think he was
describe
your
that.
dad, but I
your
knew he
dad.
was not like a good guy.
Oh, I don't.
Anyone who says trust no one is not trustworthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he
right?
wanted to tell Caleb that he was loved. Only a parent would say that.
And then he tried to murder me, so did
Yeah,
he?
right.
Was he really?
He sure did.
Parents have a weird way of saying they love you.
Yeah, I feel like he's worse than when I left him, and he was so bad before. Ugh.
You can blame Kevin for that one.
Good thing you're not going home this summer.
Yeah, we can blame Kevin for everything.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh my gosh. Hey, do you remember that time that Leo didn't catch an egg and it broke all over his face?
Oh
That
yeah,
was
100% Kevin's fault. Yeah.
Okay, out of all the things you can blame me for, you can't blame me for your bad rolls.
Remember that time that McGurka Stuffins revealed that Freya was in Slytherin?
Oh my god!
That was Kevin.
Yeah.
That was
well,
good.
yeah,
Didn't that happen like 20 minutes ago?
yes.
I mean, last time we recorded, yes.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I should stop rolling body with -2, huh?
You say that literally every time. I'm like, all right,
Literally.
roll body.
I know, but it's funny.
So I will say this, like, even though Hunter outs Freya to her parents at the end of that episode, Hunter is by far my favorite NPC.
Oh yeah.
I love him.
I do love our potions professor. I think that
Yeah, I
Which is
do
pretty-
love
which is
Professor.
pretty great.
I was gonna say that's 50-50. Yeah, talking about unexpected twists, I did not expect potions class to be art class.
I love how I completely just accepted that. I was like, yeah, you guys, this is how he is like every day, all year.
Oh, okay.
I was
Yeah, we
like,
just
this
don't
is
learn
potions. I love how I was just like accepting of that.
Kevin, how much laughter did you have to cut out of that scene?
Oh my god. I laughed so hard. My ribs.
I
my
was
ribs
crying.
I mean,
hurt.
yeah, in order to get it so that you could hear the audio of the talking a decent amount. We had to stop. We did literally have to stop recording at one point during that scene because
You
Charlotte
murdered
could not
Charlotte.
stop
Yeah,
laughing.
Charlotte
I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
Oh my god.
Okay, this is last question. What has been your favorite part about recording? And do you have a favorite episode in this book?
Ooh, my favorite episode is when we went through the hedge maze. That was a lot of fun. Although it's tied, I guess I have two favorite scenes: hedge maze and
Hedge mage.
hedge maze,
Mage.
and the science fair. That was great.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I do
Science
love-
fair
The
is
science
totally
fair
mine.
was great.
Yeah, and
the
then
food cat.
yeah, those are my two favorite scenes. And then what was the second question?
Oh, what's your favorite part about recording?
Oh,
Like doing the show?
Hanging out with my friends who all like Harry Potter. We share that, and I miss everyone, so it's nice to see them at least once a week.
Yeah, that's definitely been my favorite part about this too. Just being able to have this awesome creative outlet with my favorite people, in the middle of quarantine, has been a big relief, and it's been really rewarding.
Human interaction is nice.
Yeah, and like it's been
What?
my dream to go to Hogwarts, so it's close.
I think I really enjoyed the Quidditch scene, especially because it was sort of Allison's first look at Quidditch as coming from like a kind of Muggle family, like looking at this crazy sport. So I think that was fun, as well as the heist when we went and stole the tie. I think those were some of my favorite scenes there. Professor Preston was also great. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I like recording. I like hanging out with friends. I think that's a lot of fun. So I like that we can show something for our work, where we can, even years from now, we can go back and listen to this and remember all these good times and have something to say, like, we did this, we made this thing, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that this is going to be a thing that exists after we're done that we can point to is really appealing to me.
Yeah, we can go back and listen to it again. A lot of D&D is just like storytelling in the moment, and it's kind of come and gone. But it's really nice to have something a little bit more permanent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I just think that this is a really great opportunity to do some storytelling. Storytelling has always been important to humans, and the messages that we talk about can shape our world. And we've got some good messages on this show, I'd like to think. And it's been a lot of fun making it with everybody.
All right. So that was all I had.
Wait, I don't get to do one?
No, go ahead if you have an answer for that. Sorry.
So I don't know that I have a favorite episode. I will say that my favorite bit of recording with you guys is probably something that none of you liked, which is the scene where we revealed Freya's power or ability or whatever it is. As soon as I did that, Alie immediately was like, "No, wait, what the hell? What the heck? Like, I should be able to roll for this. What are you talking about?" And
Oh my gosh.
you guys were all just so mad at me. It was very satisfying to.
No, I thought it was great.
Because
I really did. In the moment, you're right. I was mad, but
Yes.
yeah. So that was like, to me, that was like the original idea. Aside from the high level plot, like there's like, we needed, when we're doing the show, right? There's two things. There's that plot arc of this series, this whole story that we're going on it together as a group. That I think we kind of put a few elements in. Obviously, like that first episode at the beginning of it kind of ties into some stuff. And, like as we go along, there's going to be more and more of that. But, going in, when we started season 1, I had some ideas of what I thought we were going to do and how it was going to go. And I had to very quickly adjust, because that's kind of like the nature of this game, right? It's like, you guys all make choices and do things, and like the whole Freya dream thing was not part of the plan. It was something that we were in the middle of recording our first episode. Actually, Alie was talking about like a fun fact about her, and she was talking about how she had like a dream journal as a kid, and then we started talking about like we started talking about the Monopoly man kidnapping her or something.
yeah,
And,
a lot of that was cut.
Well,
Was it?
Well, but so anyway, that whole thing, she was like, yeah. And so Freya has this same thing. And immediately I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. So we're doing a dream thing with Freya, huh? And,
Oh, no.
yeah, it's like that
Like
has
what you
become
wrought.
so like such a core central part of the story, all because of like a throwaway silly thing that you said. So like, I don't know. I love those moments. I love being able to like take them and capture them in a really interesting and unique way, because I think that's the fun of playing a game like this, right? And so in terms of like what's my favorite part about recording, that's I mean, I when I asked you guys to do this show, I didn't know if anyone was going to say yes. I thought there was a good chance everybody was going to like, nah, not really my thing, not for me. None of us are podcasters, right? This is the first show that we were, although now that's not true, but at the time when we started doing this show, nobody knew what they were going to do or how they were going to do it at all. So like to see that growth of like going from, hey guys, I want to record a podcast, to us actually doing it, like it has been such a enjoyable, satisfying thing for me, because all I wanted to do was like hang out with my friends and tell a cool story. And I think we are doing that, and we did that already with a whole season of a show. And that's my favorite part of recording was all of it. So I love you guys.
We love you too, Kevin. Can I reveal to the audience that when we first talked about doing this game, Kevin did not reveal to us that we were going to be recording it as a podcast until after we all agreed to play the game.
Oh, that is true. Yeah. Well, because if you said no, I was also fine with just playing some D&D. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Although I do think one of my favorite parts is also the commercials that we get to record.
Oh yeah, for sure. How could I forget?
I'm so glad you brought that up because I just realized that I skipped that question.
Whoops.
We do like live brainstorm and edit the commercials before we record them, and I think that's a lot of fun. That collaboratively write these really fun commercials, and they get to do wacky voices.
Yeah.
So.
Those are a lot of fun to produce.
My favorite part about the commercials is that I don't have to do any of it.
Yeah.
Yes, those are edited by people other than Kevin, which is a relief for Kevin, I'm sure.
They are so much fun to edit, though. I have a blast every time I do one.
Yep.
I like writing them. They're a lot of fun to write.
Just all of the royalty-free sound effects we can throw in there, just as many as possible.
All the weird screams.
Yeah.
Some of those are not sound effects. Some of those are Mike doing weird stuff.
Oh yeah,
Mitchell.
I did do that
Yes.
a few times for sure.
Or other people who did screams or did sounds that I just like cut and paste into somewhere else, because I think I used one of for the gnome blower commercial. Half of the screaming is actually Charlotte.
Oh.
And I don't remember which commercial it was, but there was another one where Mitchell did this like really funny like scream and then bubbling sound, and I used that.
Yeah.
Well, we screamed a lot for the Halloween one too.
Sometimes we just hit record and do a bunch of screams and know we'll do something with it.
And then our neighbors knock on our door and they're like, "Are you guys okay?"
Yeah.
No, that's true. Sometimes when we record, we just start screaming, and then we forget to record an episode.
So it's just an episode of screams.
We're just reacting to 2020.
One day I'm just gonna edit that. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, there was one day that one of my roommates, like, parent was here while I was recording, and I did feel a little self-conscious as I was, like, screaming into the mic.
I never actually said what my favorite scene and favorite episode were, though.
Oh.
Go ahead.
I think that my favorite scene was actually in the hedge maze when we got to the transfiguration task and we had to make sunglasses, just like Professor Pritchard had wanted us to do in class.
Yep.
It was very fitting for the whole arc of what these professors are and aren't teaching us as 11-year-olds. And
yeah.
And also, like, do you want to say how you're, as a teacher, you really liked that part?
No, I don't want to talk.
Oh man, hard disagree, because like when I'm teaching, because I do some teaching
definitely not the
too,
way I want it to be.
That is like doing the thing where it's like, all right guys, now let's bring it all back to where we started. Here's where it all makes sense and is relevant. That's like the most satisfying thing for me to do as a teacher, because it's what it's all about. I think Mitchell just disagrees.
Yeah, but I also want to say that my favorite episode is the first episode. I really like how it introduces all the characters, and it really sets the tone of we've got these 5 people here and they're kids and they're having a good time playing a game with each other.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, in general, I've had a lot of fun just role-playing as an 11-year-old and trying to think what would an 11-year-old do in this situation, which I think has turned into a lot of Leo being a bumbly fool.
Yeah, I had to look at like child like mental development and like try to make sure I was playing it realistically. It's hard though.
It is.
Yeah, I want to be reasonable.
You want to give them life wisdom.
Yeah,
you want to kind of like impart what you know onto them, and then you're like, nah, they're 11. Like they're not gonna do that. They're gonna roll down the hill and pretend to be zombies. So,
so I'm sorry. I'm a terrible host, I guess, of this episode.
No, just kidding.
I also didn't say what my favorite episode or scene was. My favorite scene actually was in the hedge maze when we all got to we were all decided to like kept skipping the gym room.
Yeah, and just silent agreement. No one had any.
And that one turned out to be the
intention of
easiest
anything.
one.
Yeah, and it turned out to just be like a timer.
It's like
with,
directed
like, a bowl of
towards
chocolate.
me, weirdly.
I mean, in all honesty, Freya was concerned that you were going to go for that chocolate.
One of my characteristics, my traits, is competitive. So I would have eaten dirt first. Also, I have real chocolate I could have been eating. So, joke's on you, Kevin. I'm still eating chocolate.
But yeah,
That's cheating.
But yeah, I really enjoy recording this podcast with you guys for a lot of the same reasons. It's been really fun to record 1 week and then kind of forget what happened, and then a couple weeks later have that episode come out and re-listen to it. Be like, oh yeah, that happened. I forgot that we even had this conversation.
Yeah, I really like how the episodes come out a couple weeks after, and I've forgotten, so it's like I get to be an audience member all over again.
Yeah. So those are all the questions I have. Again, anybody that submitted a question, I just want to again say thank you. We really like that we have people that are listening to us and that actually care enough to send questions.
Yes.
And
So, someone tell me, somebody just call it out right now. Give me a plot summary of what happened in book 1.
Oh my god.
Caleb's
Caleb was a werewolf,
Dad.
and oh my
tries
god, Caleb's a
to
werewolf.
That's not
kill
right.
us.
all right.
No.
The children, when they're 5 years old, at a daycare, find a prophecy and accidentally shatter it. Then flash forward to when they're 11, and then they're going to Hogwarts, and they all meet each other again. And it's like, whoa, hi, how are you? Blah blah blah. Also, we find out that Skylar's mom died, and then they're living with Allison. Everyone goes to Hogwarts. They all get sorted into Ravenclaw. They all do some Hogwartsy stuff. Then it turns out that Freya sees some things in her dreams, and Caleb is a werewolf and finds out that he's a werewolf in a dream.
This is
some
weird.
more lots of chocolate eating.
Oh yeah.
Then there's a FYHH instead of final exams. Then at the end of the exam, Caleb's dad tries to kill everyone.
Boo.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. Everyone lives. The end.
And Leo was there too.
Okay, I write book summaries for work, and I can say that was too long. It needs to be 3 to 4 sentences with you have to like pull the reader without saying too much, and then have something witty if you can.
Yeah, it should only be 6 inches of parchment.
Yeah.
I also think it needs to be accurate, and that one gets like a 60.
Dang.
All right. In the shadow of a tragedy, 5 friends reconnect at Hogwarts. They learn the secret riddle of being a Ravenclaw. That it sucks.
Whoops.
They investigate mysteries and
This is starting to sound a little bit like a Mad Lib.
But you have to drag them in with the third sentence.
one of them has a dark secret.
There we go. If that's the best you can do, sure.
Wait, there's got to be like an ending.
And then the
conclusion.
last sentence has to be something witty. Perfect.
Very witty.
Excellent. Fantastic.
I was just going to suggest werewolf question mark.
No, I prefer the fart noises.
No, I think the last sentence is werewolf, period.
Did you know I'm a
Werewolf, period. Oh gosh.
good times, good times.
I do like how that started turning into a Mad Lib a little bit.
It did feel like a Mad Lib. Fill in the blanks. Some verbs.
I no longer know how to end this.
Kevin, was that what you intended when you wanted us to give a summary?
Oh, I don't know. Sometimes I just say things to make you guys do weird stuff. I thought we knew that already. That's how this game works.
Yeah.